Doom was quite rightfully so one of the most popular games of 2016, as of course not only did it make its way onto several Game of the Year lists, including my own, it also won several awards, and of course is just a really good game that took a lot of people, including myself, by surprise. But of course it once started life as Doom 4, and some leaked footage has surfaced of that long forgotten and long shelved project, and well, safe to say it doesn't look like Doom at all, so it was completely scrapped and rebooted into the Game of the Year material that we saw last year. And of course we also saw a similar situation with Prey, where Prey 2 is in development for ages, and it was kind of just in development hell and limbo, no one knew what was going on. Then of course eventually it was scrapped, and we've had the reboot of Prey announced at E3, which is going to be handled by the one and only Arkane. Now, Pete Hines of Bethesda sat down with an interview with Games Radar, and he discussed numerous things. The full interview is rather lengthy, but I want to focus on his comments on Doom and Prey in particular. And he said, quote, "With Doom, it was a tipping point that we reached where we looked at it and said, this game is not hitting the marks it needs to hit, and it just wasn't Bethesda. It was id coming to us and saying, it's not that it's not a good game or an okay game, but it's just not Doom. It's veered from the things that we think Doom should be about. And again, it's not like we were happy about it. We essentially cancelled a game. That's what we did. We cancelled a thing that people had spent a long time working on, and we spent a lot of money to get to that point, and then we cancelled it and basically started over. Which is never easy to do, but it was because we believed and agreed with the notion of, if this is going to be a success, if it's going to be worth all this time and effort, then it has to be the right thing, executed the right way." Which I would absolutely agree with, to be honest. The revealed footage for what was once Doom 4 is quite frankly quite depressing and does not look like Doom at all. It just looks like a generic brown shooter, to be honest with you. And if Doom had come out in that state, it would not have been one of the most highly venerated games of 2016. It would not have won multiple awards. It would have just been, oh, that was really disappointing, and maybe would have made its way onto most disappointing lists of 2016. However, in the case of Prey, quote, "It's not like Raphael Colentiano, president of Arkane Studios, had multiple pitches or multiple versions. It's what they're wanting to do something. What they're working on has nothing to do with the other stuff that has preceded it. They had no involvement in Prey 2 whatsoever, and that game has nothing to do with what they're making. When they started 2's development, when they started the process, all that stuff was done and we knew where it was. At some stage in Prey 2's development, we had to say, look, this is not going to get there and we don't have the good path going forward, so we're just going to have to call a spade and say this isn't going to proceed anymore. That didn't have anything to do with Arkane we're coming up with or any of that stuff." But in each of the cases, it boiled down to these guys coming up with a vision, and they were able to say, here's what we want to do, and here's what we want to make, and here's what we think it's going to be great. And with Doom, that is the implementation of the idea that they came to us with initially, which is, we think we can make something that's fast and visceral and different, unique in a way that this genre, quite frankly, could use. And to be honest, they were so right. Doom is like a breath of fresh air on a summer morning. You know, in a year, or to be fair, 2016 was good for shooters and just games in general. But in the years preceding 2016, we had a long succession of sequels and modern military shooters, and we were only really just getting out from the shadow of the modern military shooter. And Doom is very much a return of that old school first-person shooter combat that I so love, along with many other people. So to be honest, I'm glad that they were able to see that, look, this is what we need to do, this is what's going to be the best for Doom, this is what's going to make this game actually interesting to play. However, in the case of Prey, it was, quote, "We have an idea for the core concept of this franchise, boiling down to aliens are hunting you and you're trying to survive, but we're going to reimagine it. We're going to do it a completely new and different take, and we've shown the first sneak of that, and it's different from what you might have had in your head or what previous efforts in the franchise looked like, but it's entirely their own vision and we're really excited about it." And yeah, it is safe to say that the Prey reboot by Arkane looks basically nothing like the original Prey, or even the very little that we saw of Prey 2. And to be honest, after the troubled development that Prey 2 had, that might be for the best. And one would wonder, well, why are they using the name Prey when it's so different? Well, you'd have to ask Bethesda that, but from what we've seen, Prey 2017 is looking really interesting and could actually be a really weird turn for Arkane, as of course they're really only known for the Dishonored series, and I want to see them do something like Prey, which looks like it kind of has survival horror-y elements, as well as, of course, the sci-fi, and Lord knows what else. Is also a game where you can turn yourself into a cup, so, you know, it's clear we're going down the street of Fourth and Bananas with Prey, and I think that's going to be an interesting experience nonetheless. To be honest, all I can say is just I'm thankful that Bethesda listened to id regarding Doom. You know, if we had gotten the game that they originally were making, I don't think we'd be having all these discussions about how great Doom was. Oh my god, how amazing was Doom? Doom is the game of the year, that sort of thing. We would not be having that conversation, and we wouldn't have had one of the best shooters to come out in years. So what I can say is thanks to id for making such a fantastic game. I look forward to seeing what Arkane have on offer for Prey. It probably was a good decision to give it to them, given that they were completely unrelated to the original project and just had some fresh, interesting ideas as to what to do with that particular series. However, the full interview with Games Radar is linked in the description below. There is a ton of stuff I haven't touched on. The interview is rather long, so give it a read if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.